So I came home one day and my wife had moved out.
Today's guest is someone who turned pain into purpose.
Everything I was doing was for this vision.
How much in sales did you guys get?
Our first year, 13.5 million.
He started in a factory job at General Motors, only to face heartbreak at home when his wife left.
How could she throw that dream away? This was a dream that we talked about over and over again. And I just didn't understand this.
That moment forced him to ask the question.
What would it look like to live life for me?
From there, he launched a podcast that grew to tens of thousands of listeners.
I had 20,000 unique downloads per episode. We were crushing it.
He walked away from GM to bet everything on himself.
How do I meet like-minded people when I'm trapped here in GM? I was going to work every day, surrounded by people that saw the joy in me, and they wanted to disrupt that. I'm done. F this.
In this conversation, you'll hear about million-dollar wins, painful losses, and the exact moments where intuition guided him.
What was the most anyone ever stole? Yes.
30,000.
30 grand. Okay. Wow.
Let's dive into this incredible story and discover how intuition shaped it all.
What would you tell yourself about intuition?
Before we jump in, I want to take a moment to thank you for being here. This channel is small, but it's filled with high-quality people like you who care about growth, emotional intelligence, and becoming the kind of leader who's guided by intuition instead of noise and chaos. With everything happening in the world right now, emotional intelligence and being led by our intuition is more important than ever. If that resonates for you, just take 2 seconds and double check that you're subscribed. It really helps the health of a small channel like this. If you have entrepreneurs or professionals in your life who you care about, people navigating through growth, stress, leadership, burnout, or big decisions, please share this episode with them. A personal share will support our community more than any algorithm ever could. Let's be guided by our intuition and dive into today's episode.
So I wanted to start off by, can you give me a little bit of your professional background?
Well, I was working at General Motors. Right out of high school, I got into printing. And so I learned the trade of print. And then I got an opportunity to go to General Motors because in the print, it was like all small family businesses. So I kind of like reached my limit at that company. And so I was looking for an opportunity. So GM really seemed like this like glamorous opportunity, this huge.
GM was like super exciting.
Yeah, huge corporation, tons of room for growth. Whereas where I was at, mom and pop company, there's only so far to go. And then you start, it's not like you're going to kick the owner out.
Right. GM's got a huge professional ladder to climb.
Correct. And so that was the exciting part of getting that role and getting that position there for me. And so I was pretty excited for the first year of being there. The work was ridiculously simple and people weren't really the best.
Yeah.
But the pay was pretty decent. And then it was, paying my bills, and I saw this big opportunity for growth if I continued to do certain things.
Okay, so then you mentioned that you were doing podcasting. Can you explain how you went from GM to podcasting?
Yeah, so I came home one day and my wife had moved out, wanted a divorce. So for me, it was what? I thought I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. So it didn't make sense to me that I had done all this. Everything I was doing was for this vision of, right? And so how could she move out? How could she throw that dream away? Because this was a dream that we talked about over and over again. And I just didn't understand this. And so it became a period for me of self-exploration. It's well, if I've been doing this for her, what would it look like to live life a little bit for me? I have all this free time now. I'm now a part-time dad where I was, full-time parent. And so it was a whole new opportunity, instead of looking at it as, washing away the pain in alcohol or drugs. It was how do I apply my oxygen mask and make me a better me and see where that takes me,
So was that actually the thought process at the time, or were you kind of looking for a place to vent and then you're like, well, let's do podcasting?
No, I was actually looking for how to better myself.
Okay.
So podcasting I started the podcast because one of the podcasts that I listened to, I had like engulfed myself in personal growth. I was like, I want to be a better version of me. If I want to have a better life, I've got to work on me. And so it was like, I started reading personal growth books, self-help books, listening to books on tape. And that's when I found podcasting. And one of the podcasts that I listened to was called The Kick-Ass Life by
Okay.
David Wood. And I was like, oh, a kick-ass life. And he's talking about how he's traveling the world and, I'm going to Australia for 2 weeks and I'm surfing, and he's in his 50s. And I'm like, dude, this is the guy I want to live my life like. And in these books I was reading, find the people in the world or in life that are doing the things that you want to be doing, and then do what they're doing to get there.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm like looking around GM, like nobody here is living the life that I want to be living.
Yeah.
So like clearly this isn't it.
Yeah.
This David guy seems to have it together. And in one of his podcasts, he goes, do something that scares you. Do something that makes you uncomfortable. Start a podcast.
Okay.
And it was like, oh shit. Okay, this is it. This is what we're going to do. And it's like, what do I start a podcast about? It's like, well, I'm going through all this stuff. And it's like, and then I started meeting because along with the challenge, it was like, surround yourself with like-minded people. It's like, well, how do I meet like-minded people when I'm trapped here in GM? And another guy messaged me in the thread and said, hey, I'm a like-minded person. I'm in Florida, but we always have social media.
This is a thread for, what's it called?
The Kick-Ass Life
Okay.
podcast. Yeah.
And then, so was that someone that you started your podcast with?
So yeah, so he and I started chatting, and then so we launched the podcast together,
Which is,
the Kick-Ass Dad.
okay. So you basically got a similar name from.
Well, yeah, it was like the
Makes sense.
Kick-Ass Life, Kick-Ass Dad, and it was going to be focused around parenting and how, like what's the role of a perfect parent?
Okay.
And it's like, well, first off, there is no such thing as a perfect parent, right? Like, so we're just kind of having conversation, and as we were like learning about ourselves and like kind of this unpeeling of the layers,
Yeah. Was he also a divorced dad?
no, he had kids, wasn't,
But also a dad.
but a dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool because you had two dads, but also a little bit of a unique perspective for both of you.
Right. And that's one thing that we were looking for is like, oh, how do we have, unique skill sets that we bring to the table? And so that's where I related to a lot of dads going through divorce, but also moms going through divorce, trying to understand what the male, what that dad perspective was, because they didn't understand their spouse.
Right.
And it was kind of like I wish my ex was like this, and
Okay.
that's what we get a lot of. Like, how should I talk to him? I want him to do X, Y, Z. How should we have that conversation? And it was like, oh, so then I was coaching women and men in relationship.
So you're kind of giving them like your perspective of what you would want on, as a husband in the relationship.
Right.
Okay.
And then role as a parent. But like, that was where my imposter syndrome. So we like started that up, and my imposter syndrome started really kind of kicking in. So we started getting a really good reach, and it's like, man, people are listening to me. People are like,
So how tell me about that, like how big of a reach?
well, I don't remember the exact numbers of the download per month was, but the numbers that I paid attention to were unique downloads per episode.
Okay.
Right. So that way I know I had 20,000 unique downloads per episode when we were crushing it. Right.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but we built up to that, and then we held that for we did the podcast for 2 years. So we probably held that for 6-8 months,
Okay.
of the 2 years. But we were, we were growing that entire time. And
Okay.
that was kind of the cool thing. I was like, we'd go to, a podcast meetup, and then watch our numbers like go up like 10,000 downloads, just from doing this one event. And so
I know 10,000 downloads is a big mile marker for a podcast total. So doing 20,000 per episode is a big deal. Especially, what year was this?
13.
Right. So you were like way early in the podcast game. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
But the problem with that, so there's oh, this is cool. We were new into the podcast game, but the problem with that, the problem became that podcasting costs money, and there wasn't a clear path for revenue yet.
Yeah.
And so we were in that whole discovery stage of like, this is costing us like $450 a month. And at the time, Michael was on a real tight budget working as a restaurant manager, and,
Gotcha.
and his wife was a stay-at-home wife with small kids. And I was now a part-time dad that, worked at GM, and not that I had a bunch of expendable income, but I was doing okay.
So the workload was a little like lopsided between the two. Like he's got a tighter budget, like also focus on his family, and then you're just like, yeah, I got more expendable cash and more free time.
Yeah, I mean, I worked a lot of hours, so I was at the plant a lot. But when I was home, I was able to focus and get work done. Whereas he was like, when he was home, he had less focus time because of the family and everything being around. So
Yeah.
I was able to really produce a lot and get a lot of the nuts and bolts stuff done.
Okay. Gotcha. Tell me more about the imposter syndrome. Like when did that kick in, and was your partner already also getting the imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I think we all went through it at one point or another, because it was like all of these different projects that we were working on, we were having like a lot of success with. And it was kind of like we didn't know how successful we were being at the time, because it was our first time doing any of it.
Yeah.
And then here we're like, oh, how's that compared to these other global launches and stuff? And it's like, oh my gosh, our numbers are crushing theirs.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we really that good? Or is it just like, are we like playing a different game?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it wasn't until we went out to Las Vegas and met other podcasters that we kind of knew where we stood in the whole world of things. So the imposter syndrome was just like, we're getting these emails, people asking questions, and it's like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm just telling you my opinion. Like, I'm not a psychologist or a doctor or something like that.
Yeah.
So then we started leaving disclaimers on the episodes, because it's like, we're not psychologists or any professional of any type. So,
warning, this is just two awesome dads.
Yeah, like this is just two guys bullshitting on an episode. So please don't take what we say to heart.
I've heard some like bigger YouTubers talk about that, where they're like, I don't have a degree. I'm just like giving you my 2 cents of advice, and then people are taking it as like it's golden.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I always steered away from, was like calling myself a Facebook expert and selling some Facebook marketing class, because Facebook was always evolving. That it's like, by the time I develop a class, all the like screenshots and everything that I took, it's all different now. And the functions are all in different places. And so by the time you launch the class, you're a liar.
Right.
It's like how it felt. I was like, I don't even want to do, launch a class on how to do Facebook marketing. So it really became, how do I get this podcast that is costing us money monetized?
Do you have a fear of success?
Probably. I don't know if, I think it's the fear of the responsibility on my shoulders if I reach success.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. I mean, that kind of translates to a fear of success, but that makes sense. That's kind of like the reason why you'd have fear of success.
Yeah.
The responsibility.
Yeah. Scare, like what will that require of me?
So tell me, like, the end of Kick-Ass Dads, and then you transition to, like, another big thing was Thing Charger. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, so we launched this podcast mastermind group. We're helping all these people launch their podcast. I say we, it turned into me. There's a group of us like that were like, yeah, let's do this. And then it was like, hey guys, like, where'd that weekly commitment go?
Yeah.
Because it was a job, but I pushed through, got those launched. And in the process of launching podcasts, I would have people always come into me like, hey, I think I want to launch a podcast. Do you think it would help me with XYZ, right? And it was always like, first off, a podcast is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So if you have something that you want to sell, you have to make sure that you want to do the work of building the podcast to sell that thing.
Yeah.
Because it will distract you from doing the selling of the thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
How many podcasts did you help launch?
36.
36. Okay.
Yeah. So 36 podcasts.
What was the biggest?
The Good Dad Project, or
And
the Dad's Edge. He rebranded later.
okay.
The Dad's Edge.
Those weren't 36 dad podcasts, were they?
No.
Okay.
These were. We did one that was stories with purpose, and it was he was an insurance medical insurance
Okay.
support person.
What was the most boring one?
This one,
I
because it
was gonna say it, but yeah, it's
so yeah, he's helping. So you have some, like, you get diagnosed with cancer, and
okay.
you got to go through all this treatment. Well, what does your insurance cover? It's this whole process. And so his interview was talking to you about your medical experience in the process of dealing with your cancer.
Okay.
So it was like all about billing, how, process. How did you get that taken care of? You're sick as hell, but tell me about the bills that you were getting.
Are there any podcasts still going of those
The
36?
Dad's Edge, yeah.
Oh, that one's still going?
Yeah, he just had Matthew McConaughey on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then the other guy that we launched with, he's got he was a radio DJ, and he's not doing the podcast anymore, but he does the radio DJing.
Yeah.
And then now I think as part of the radio DJing, he teaches people how to podcast.
Gotcha.
So he kind of took that.
And then when you transitioned, tell me about the transition to Thing Charger.
So Thing Charger approached us wanting to do a podcast about the product. And like, how could we do a podcast that interviews other people about their product was the original concept.
Like an inventor's.
Yeah, an inventor type podcast. And it was like, well, that's interesting. I was like, well, what are you doing with this thing? And he's like, well, we kind of been struggling to get it off the ground. And he just paid 10 grand to this consultant that did zero for him.
It was a podcast consultant, or
No, he was a crowdfunding consultant. That was like one of these experts that in branding, brand launching, or some nonsense. But that was the CEO of that company, spent money on the most ridiculous things that had no ROI, and he's like, that was worth it. And then it's, like, here we're churning profit hand over fist.
right? Because you didn't want to do, like, when you say crowdfunding, like a Kickstarter, you didn't want to do a Kickstarter because they take like 5 to 8% or something.
Correct.
And so you're like, well, if we do a direct, then we can take all the profit. And then, because you guys were, you were managing the marketing and the ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then how much in sales did you guys get?
Well, in our first year, 13.5 million.
Yeah. And that was all pre-orders.
Pre-sale,
So,
or crowdfunded.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Because
So,
just to clarify, the term for crowdfunding is like more than 90-day delivery.
yeah. It's more of a longer term. Or
Yeah.
like pre-orders is like,
Within 90 days. You can't, if you don't deliver within that 90
that's
days,
the
you break
difference.
that
okay.
contract. And
Gotcha.
then that's where like PayPal and stuff wants to take the money back.
Gotcha. So like, what I'm saying is like the two like pretty big events in your life was one was Kick-Ass Dads, and the next one was Thing Charger. Like that was two like pretty like big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I guess throughout your journey, tell me about a story where you listened to your intuition.
Well, it was making the leap to leave General Motors.
Okay.
That was the biggest thing. I was going to work every day, just surrounded by, they talk about crab bucket.
Yeah.
It was like these emotional people that saw that I had found like a joy in me, and they wanted to do what they could to disrupt that. And they would different people just doing different things, and every day you come in and to work, and it's like, I got to battle, battle through this day.
Yeah.
And when we were able to monetize the podcast, it was one of those things. It wasn't enough money to like retire on, but it was enough that it was like a couple years worth of salary.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if I quit my job, I really can't come back, but I do have a little runway to figure out something in the event of.
Yeah.
Right. So that was like really trusting my gut that was intuition, that was the right move. And it was right for me emotionally, I mean, what it did for my relationship with my kids, it was just immediate
Oh, you
change.
quitting your job had changed your relationship with your kids.
Well, yeah, because I was home. I was
Okay.
around.
Okay.
Because before I worked nights.
Uh,
And so my son was in school during the day. At night, I'm at work.
yeah.
And then my daughter was too young for school. So I had her during the day, but
Like
I worked all
sleeping or
night.
tired. Yeah.
So I was literally a zombie.
Yeah.
So being able to walk away from the job and not be that zombie
Yeah.
was like, what a blessing. And then, but the thing that I looked at is like I had this money in the bank and then I kept using it. And I was using it. So it's like, I got to find out a way to like replace this quick. And
Yeah.
that's when Thing Charger. So there was a bit of like fear, that kind of came up, that kind of lit a fire for me to
Okay.
explore Thing Charger.
Yeah.
But I also, when I came across it, it was like there was also a piece of intuition that was like,
This is,
ooh, yeah,
yeah, like step on the
like
gas.
something sparked inside. You knew another time I felt it,
Yeah.
and I swear to. So I went to
When you
a
met me, right?
university. Yeah, it really.
Oh,
I'm
seriously, I was
dead
just joking.
serious.
Okay.
I'm dead serious. Because I went to a University of Toledo event.
Yeah.
I went around. I just collected people's cards, and then I went back home, and I would go through the card and I pull up the website. And pull up the website just to see if is there somebody local, because I'm having all this success
Yeah.
with these other companies, and it's like, is there somebody local that maybe I can support?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and like try to pass on a little bit of this my experience.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through and no, and I came across yours and I was like, ooh, that's interesting. I was like, what makes it so unique? And I went online and I'm
Yeah.
looking. I'm like, there really isn't anything. There's the hard plastic trays, and you know what your competition was.
Right.
Not
Right.
really much. And I was like, this has got some legs. So then I reached out to you,
Yeah.
and then we talked, and I was like, man, this. So same kind of thing. It was like,
Yeah.
one, the product seemed interesting. It had some legs, and you were like clearly like on fire. So to me, it was like a home run.
Yeah.
Just trying to find the right key slot for it to all fit together
Right. Right.
is the way it looked from my perspective. And then a couple of years later, this was just a few years ago, somebody approached me that you sent my way, was like, talk to Chris. And they reached out, and it was this guy, Brian. And I was like, well, I think this is a home run product. Like it's got these things. And then I took my lessons that I learned from Thing Charger, which one of our biggest obstacles at Thing Charger was we had made a bunch of product for retail that was in bigger packaging. Well, the problem when it wasn't selling in retail was that packaging cost a lot more to ship than the packages that we fulfilled for crowdfunding, because it was a real tight, small package. So it was like twice the amount in shipping. So when I met with this guy, I was like, dude, this product's awesome. Shipping's going to kill you.
Yeah.
What you want to do is partner with like a Lowe's, Home Depot type that has this national reach, and then ship from their locations. And now you don't have to worry about these long distance shipping.
Right. Right.
But anyway, so those are all just like, when you see something, it's like knowing that feeling that like that spark is going off. It's like, ooh, there's something here.
It's like an excitement. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know it every time I see it, it's like, ooh, that thing's going to be big.
What you were saying about when you were leaving GM, it's interesting to see the crabs in the bucket, because when I was starting GripMat, I remember sitting in the morning meeting at the Air Force Base, and the guy was like, well, what if you do all this work and none of it works? And I said, I guess I'd just be back here sitting next to you. He was just like, whatever. And I could kind of see that, a lot of people would ask me, like, what was a big obstacle? Like, did other people doubt you? Most people actually believed in me, but I could see when the people who did not believe in me or GripMat, it was actually more of like this jadedness of like, I could have just done the same thing. So like at GM, you're probably seeing like people who are mad at your joy because subconsciously they know that they could have just had it themselves.
Right.
So it's like, you're just doing everything I could have done, and now I'm upset because I didn't do it.
Yeah. Oh, you think you're so cool because you do this not that hard? Then do it.
Yeah,
dude.
then do it. And then
Right.
rather than just be here, upset. So it's interesting to see, at that stage, just simply like getting out of the bucket of crabs is a huge like mental upgrade.
Yeah, and that took probably a couple of years of like getting away from that too, because you have different. A lot of times, the people that you consider your closest people will be the biggest crab.
Yeah. And people say all the time, like, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Yeah.
And I say, well, like, what if you don't hang out with anyone? Then, you have control of like how you're going to be changing. And I think that I don't know, there's like a method to the madness of being with people, then also just like spending time alone and just like being with you alone.
But
And
I heard somebody say this. They go, "I don't need more friends. I need business partners. I need
yeah, true.
motivators, people in my life that are gonna push me to
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
bigger, try harder. I don't need friends."
yeah. What's been fun is like the past, several years I've been traveling. I'm sure you've been
What?
seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, where'd you
But
go?
the what I believe is like attracts like. So if you're actually attracting people who are just like you. I don't believe in like opposites attract, because when you see someone who's complete opposite, you don't really have interest to be around them. So what's been interesting is when I am traveling, I'll be someplace and then I'll see who I'm like attracting, and then it's like, then I can be like, wow, this is like a reflection of me. Then I'll go to the next place, like, okay, I can see like periodically like how I'm changing as a person, because I'm like seeing the people that I'm attracting. So there was a big phase where I realized like I am an extrovert, but before I was like an extreme extrovert, and I was seeing like I was really wanting to be around people so much, I was actually sacrificing who I was around. I was basically willing to be around people who I shouldn't be around because I just wanted to be around more people. And because I realized one day that a lot of people want to hang out with me, but I didn't want to hang out with me. So then once I just allowed that to happen and allowed myself to hang out with me, then I was seeing like, okay, that was like exactly the part I needed to work on, where really I was hanging out with these other people as a distraction.
And
So
what you want, what you needed to see.
yeah. So that's been, yeah, it's interesting when people are saying like the 5 people, who's your 5 people? Like, try having no one for a little bit. Just be with you for a little bit. So,
I think my 5 people are 5 people I follow online,
oh yeah.
not necessarily like in my day to day.
Mm, yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of people come in my day.
Yeah. I mean, in your lifestyle, yeah, you have like a lot of people, but with in my
Your
lifestyle
lifestyle
now,
is a
I'm
little
just
different.
traveling with my girlfriend. So it's me, myself, and I, and Pri. So Pri is great. So it's got me, myself, and I, and Pri. So we got four amazing people. But what was I going to ask you? Okay, so tell me about a situation where you did not listen to your intuition.
Starting an apparel company.
Okay.
To me, I saw it as a cash opportunity. So I was
Oh,
chasing money. It was like an opportunist choice.
okay.
Um, and I was like, it felt very begrudging to start. Does that make sense? Or I was kind of like, ugh, like really? Like, all right, let's do this.
So your motivation was
Try to make money. I
just
thought,
cash out, just
yeah,
like cash.
I had some accounts that I had connections with and some things I could do that would churn some quick cash. And then I thought, oh, if I get this capital, I can reinvest it into this and grow it into this and then turn this into this. And then I don't have to actually run the day to day. It'll just make money for me. So it's like I was seeing this as an opportunity, but I really didn't want to do all the work that led to building it to that
Hmm.
opportunity. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I see a lot where, let's say there's a lucrative idea and low motivation, and a not so lucrative idea, but a lot of motivation and excitement. And I'm always betting on the high excitement person, because it could be a great idea, but if there's just like no motivation there. And I can see that with myself is when I I've been like pausing from creating new things, is because I'll see in myself of like, okay, well, here's this new idea. This could make a lot of money, but I'll be like, well, why do I want money? Like, I'm okay right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to work for a while. And it's like, well, actually, to me, I was seeing that the money is like, okay, well, now I'm like, before I struggled with my self-worth was tied to my money. So really when I kind of lift up the layer of money underneath it is like, oh, you still think that your self-worth needs to be raised. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, this is a good idea, but this is an idea that I want to work on. I'm just chasing the money. I want an
Right.
idea that I'm excited about and that my intuition is calling me to, not just because I might cash out, because you know how it is when you really go down the road with this stuff. There's a lot of headaches, and if you're not fully into it, it can get exhausting quick.
Yeah, and that's what happened with me. It's like I was like, well, I'll rely on these other people to manage that role, and then therefore kind of detach myself in some way and from those responsibilities. So I'll just focus on these things. Well, then those people have no heart in it. They have no skin in the game. To them, it's just a paycheck, a job. So they can slack off. They can steal from the company. They can do those things. And then I'm sitting there like, what are you guys doing? Like, why aren't you as passionate and caring as much as I am? You know, it's like,
Which
and
is
that,
not really passionate at all, right? Because you're just there for the money.
well,
I might be more caring, but
yeah, it was like, I'm doing this for you to have a job. Why aren't you
Yeah.
happy about it? You know,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And he's like, man, it's not really what I want to be doing. It's like, well, I didn't. It's what you were doing before you came here, and I gave you the opportunity to do it here,
Yeah.
and potentially earn an opportunity to own a portion. That was one of my thoughts on it. But those were more like scarcity people, or people in this scarcity mindset, to where they needed to get their piece of the pie before the pie was gone.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was like, so then here I am trying to do this thing that nobody else wants but me, and I don't actually want. I just want the idea of what it represents. Does that make sense? So to me, it was like, oh, I'm building this residual income stream that I don't have to touch anymore, because I've got people in place that are passionate about the roles that they're managing, and so they'll self-manage,
Yeah.
and that it just didn't work.
Which finding your key role is finding those people and like managing the people, which is not as easy as.
Not as easy as I thought.
Yeah, you could just print the shirts yourself.
Right. It was
you
like,
probably ended up printing a lot of shirts yourself.
that's
because
what
of
I
that.
did. Yeah. Would you do 2,000 for Grip Mat?
Yeah.
That was me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It was but again, the whole time I'm doing it, I'm thinking, why am I doing this? What am I
Right.
doing this for? And I did it for 2 years. And it's like,
Right.
and then I started this. When I started the Toledo Tech Club, I didn't start it under the same circumstances. I started it more for the idea of something else than to be the director of the Tech Loft. You know, I wanted to create community. I wanted to have a place like when I was in San Francisco or Salt Lake City. We had this community where we could talk ideas through and talk marketing and, just spitball things, right? Like we would do as well back in the day. But that community just was so scarce. So the goal was, let's start the Tech Loft to start the activity to draw that type of a community and help to build it.
Okay.
Well, I really thought it was like to help get them out of the woodwork, to come out of the woodwork, right? They were all hiding something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe they aren't hiding. They just don't exist or didn't know that they could do this here.
Yeah.
And so now that that's becoming a possibility, oh, well, maybe I might be interested in being a part of that. But it took a year to get to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, back to when, like, I want to stay on the topic of when you didn't listen to your intuition. Like, it sounded like you were kind of got your hands pretty dirty with a business that you don't really want to be a part of. Is there more to it that happened that was negative?
Well, the employees, you have people stealing. So I ran into that.
What was the most anyone ever stole?
Yes.
30,000.
30 grand. Okay.
It's like, really? Like,
Wow.
okay. And I don't think they realized how much they took. But when I'm doing the math on everything, I'm like,
Which, if
dude,
you're there for money, that's a pretty big hit.
well, and what was crazy about it is I had reinvested all of this and to get new equipment, to buy more machines, to build tables and things like that. That 30 grand was my recoup of what I had invested, like reinvested. So this was the first chunk of cash that I was actually like the profit from all of this effort, or payment to myself
Paying yourself back.
for all of
Okay.
this effort. And so when that happened, it was like it just collapsed the sail, the wind, the wind
Oh, the
from my
sales. Yeah.
sail.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just was like, I'm done. I
Yeah.
literally F this.
Yeah. Do you have another time that you did not listen to your intuition?
My ex-wife, just that entire relationship.
Okay.
Like from day one, it was like I didn't want to be in a relationship with your friend, and we both had kids the same age. So I wanted to have like kids for my kid to hang out with. I didn't know anybody that had kids at that time. So she had twins that were the same age as my son. So I was like, oh well, let's go the kids hang out. And then we would go drinking or go out, party, and then we'd get one sitter to watch all the kids.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is great. And then it was like, be careful, she's gonna try and trap you and like trick you. Sure enough, she did, and I ended up like sleeping with her. I was like, oh, man, I didn't want to do that.
Especially if it's like your kid's friend's mom. So it's like you're gonna pull your kid away from the friends because
Yeah, and so it was just like stupid. Like the whole time I'm like, this is stupid, this is stupid, this is stupid. Like, telling myself, don't do this, don't do this. And then she ended up pregnant and she lost it. And I don't know and to be honest, I don't even know that is even true, because she was such a manipulator that there is a pretty good chance that was actually all just made up. But that's how I ended up sleeping with her to begin with. She like kind of manipulated me, and
alcohol.
and I was just kind of like, oh well, no big deal. And then it's like, even though like back in my head, like, go home, don't stay here. What are you doing? Go home.
Don't drink one more beer.
Right,
Get out of here.
right. Like, you do not need this. And there's another time that, I got pulled over by the cops, and it was one of those things that I was like, I like got off, or was like getting off the highway. I was like, I should wait till the next exit. And I was like, nah, I'm here. I was like, I should really wait till the next exit. So the whole time I'm getting off, in my mind, I'm like, I should just get back on. I should get back on. And I didn't listen, and I went that direction and got pulled over.
No. Damn.
Yeah. And I hadn't been pulled over in like 13 years. And so it was like what the heck? And yeah.
So if you could talk to yourself when you were, much younger, before GM at the printing business, what would you tell yourself about intuition?
Give it more attention, or allow it to speak louder, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because it was like, I have this like thought or feeling in myself, but it's like, yeah, whatever, ignore it, right? But if I would have taken a moment to pause and really think about why I was having that thought or that pause or whatever,
The feeling.
yeah, then maybe I would have made a better choice, as opposed to, it's almost like being intentional as opposed to just being reactive. It's like, I'm just gonna do it, and then a bug's flying in your face and you're just swatting at it, instead of like, wait a minute, maybe I should pay attention to the bug I'm swatting because it's a wasp, and when I go to hit it, it stings me.
Right. Right. So, okay, well, let's dive a bit deeper in that.
Yeah.
Is to be more intentional with your intuition. Is that what you're saying?
Intentional to listen to it. Yeah.
I guess, how do you become more intentional? Because I'm thinking of Chris at the printing press, thinking like, be more intentional, and you're like, how do I do that?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. So for me, one of the best things that I found is meditation, in the sense of taking time in the morning to just allow my brain to stop, not worry and think about all of the other things, and start to see what, like, if I'm not worried about the day-to-day stuff of like, what do I have to do today? Who do I have to talk to? What appointment do I have to, all of that noise. If I can get rid of that and allow myself to just be in this place, though there tends to be things that show up that it's like, ooh, that seems interesting. And then I can kind of explore that thought. And typically that will guide me towards the things that I really want to be doing, not the things that I like have to be.
Okay. You can see what is driving you to like, I have to do this versus like, what do I actually want to do?
Right.
Okay. Like you're kind of separating the forms of motivation. One motivation is I have to do, which may be more of like a scarcity. And
Yeah.
then,
And if I'm in this place of like, oh, I need to think, what do I need to do? That doesn't work. I need to like stop.
forcing it is
Right.
Gotcha.
And just allow what comes up to come up.
Okay.
And be like, and then just look at it, right? So I have this thought come up and go, I'm having this idea of like, I have to email Frank about this concept. Like, do I? Is that really like, no, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I can put that on the side, like,
Yeah.
what is like the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ooh, I got to redo those videos. I got to, edit some stuff and get that going. Ooh, I got my new to-do list. And now I'm excited. I'm ready to go, and I'm working towards something that lights me up and inspires me.
Yeah. You're kind of seeing what is necessary and then what's also going to be exciting and just cutting out everything else.
Yeah, and if I look at the content that really gets reach on social, it's when I'm in that space. When I'm in that space of, ooh, this is exciting for me, I'll create content from that space.
Yeah.
And that's what's resonating with people.
Exciting.
Yeah. When I'm in this like self-doubt and like questioning and like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next place, I'm making content and it's like flat.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is like an idea that's like not so lucrative, but exciting. Like that'll pick that person any day.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey man, thank you so much for chatting.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Wasn't that amazing? I get so energized by conversations like this. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing with those who you care about. It's one of the easiest ways to support a small channel like this. It helps us reach more leaders like yourself who want to grow in emotional intelligence and intuition. Before you go, I'd love to invite you to my Saturday newsletter, a 5-minute weekly read to sharpen your intuition and strengthen your emotional intelligence. It's where I share all my deepest insights, both personal and as an entrepreneur. Click below on the top link in the description. Let's keep this momentum going and check out this next episode. It's one of my favorites, and it's the next step in your growth journey. Just one click away. I'll be there waiting for you.